Oh, what a year. So this year, I experienced some client drama that I had never seen in my business before. And that client drama actually put me through some things that will make my business a ton more money next year and the year to come. It'll make my business way, way better because it's changed how I thought about my business. And perhaps it's no surprise that I've run across some client drama, some bad clients, because I took on more clients this year than ever before. The clientele really increased, and that was not necessarily a good thing because I learned that I need to be a bit more discerning, a lot more discerning, a lot more vetting of clients, a lot more weeding out clients who just were not a good fit for my business. And unfortunately, somewhere in the middle of the summer, I kind of forgot that and I started taking on clients that maybe I should not have. And that really backfired. So that advice about, bad clients not being worth it, well, it's good advice. But it really did change how I'm going to conduct my business, as did YouTube, by the way. So stay tuned about my YouTube plans. So the drama that I left you off on the Q3 update, which I will link above if you're interested in watching that, there were some clients that I took on this last Accelerate Your Space Career, which is the group coaching program that just did not belong. And sometimes I can see red flags from the start and sometimes I can't. And in one particular case, I really did see a red flag and I ignored it. So that was my number one mistake there, was ignoring the red flag right as he was registering. He should not have signed up. When I do space career coaching, my goal as a coach, my responsibility as a coach is to support and encourage and guide and provide insights and do what I can from my point of view. But I cannot force a client to advance their own career. I cannot force a client to continue on. But with these particular clients, I had two in that group coaching that really fed off each other. And so I don't think it would have been as bad if they were more isolated. But because they fed off each other, both of them decided to commit bank fraud, lie, and steal money from my company, which has happened once before, actually earlier this year, way earlier this year. But this case was horrible because both of them had fully gone through the program, and one of them, oh my gosh, I don't know what it is about this one client. I poured myself into this client. I was so determined to see this client succeed. I went way above and beyond. I did an experiment here without even realizing it. The business advice of going above and beyond and providing excellent service to your clients to ensure that they're happy, that doesn't work for all clients. So with this particular client, I got them an early win. They got a job offer. They were such a success story until they weren't, until they decided that they weren't happy, until they decided that they were going to blame all their failures on everybody else but themselves. And I really wanted this client to succeed. I kind of got wrapped up to this client's success. And the fact that they not only were not committed to their own success, but then stole money from my company, that was a bit of a punch in the gut. What I learned earlier this year is that credit card companies 100% of the time side with the customer, no matter what receipts you have, no matter what contracts you have, no matter what documentation you have, no matter what email exchanges, and no matter I have the video recordings. None of it matters because the credit card companies want to keep their credit card users and therefore will always side with the customer over the vendor. That's just a loss in the business that I've already written off. And a lot of it has to do with some advice I got about a year ago about payment plans. Make it easier for clients to sign up for your services with payment plans. Sounds great, right? It works in a lot of cases, but it does not work for long-term payment plans when people are not committed to the process long-term. So my clientele, they work with me. Some of them work with me for months, years. I mean, I literally have clients sometimes that come back to me after years and continue to work with me. I actually had a client recently who came back to me about a year and a half after initially working with me, got some stuff together, just got a job offer at SpaceX. Payment plans just don't work when it's long-term and when the person is not committed to the process long-term. And so unfortunately, as good as it sounded to have payment plans, one, it allowed clients to sign up who were not fully committed. And two, it allowed clients to back out of their payments when they felt like they didn't want to pay anymore, which is very unfortunate. So I actually lost about 5 figures, somewhere in there, low 5 figures on payment plans. So that was a little test right there, and that did not work out. So while my company will still be offering payment plans, it will not be long-term, 3 months maximum. I have learned this year that onboarding is completely useless for people who are not committed. Onboarding is not useful. Contracts are not useful for people who are unethical. I don't know why this surprised me this year because my clientele increased so much this year that I'm starting to get a more normal distribution, I guess, of clients if you're looking at the normal curve, right? And I don't know why I thought my business was special, that it wouldn't get bad clients. Like, of course, any business, all businesses deal with theft. All businesses deal with bad clients. All businesses deal with, clients who return things and lie about returning them, or, whatever the case may be. The no refund policy apparently doesn't apply to them. Like all businesses deal with this. So I don't know why I thought that my business was special and wouldn't have to deal with this. So I'm actually seeing it as a sign of growth. Now back to these people who have lost me money in the short term, this year, the revenue, were going to make me so much more money, because as I was collecting all the evidence, right, as I was reviewing every email, every text message, every LinkedIn DM, every recorded session, like all the evidence that I was going through, I really realized how good my services are. And first off, I need to back up and tell you that we restructured some of the programming this year. We restructured some of our services to make it more scalable, because I realized I was selling out the Accelerate Your Space career every quarter. And that was fantastic, but it just wasn't scalable. And it was also a lot of work every quarter to do that burst of, hey, sign up before the deadline. Like that was just a bit exhausting. For whatever reason, like it was me, actually, I shouldn't say we. Heather wasn't involved in this decision. I decided to cut the price. Like I really don't know why I did this. I have a feeling that earlier this year, when I was really struggling with all of the business expenses, I had expanded my team so much. I had this idea in my head that to get past this, last year was super successful. And I thought that in order to make this year even more successful, I needed to expand my team and expand it fast. And that was a mistake. And that's a very common mistake that small businesses make that I really fell into, is that I expanded my team way past what my cash flow was. And therefore, I was really running into payroll problems. I never missed payroll. Like I've been on the other side of missing payroll, and I will never do that to anybody. But I did have to lay people off, and that really sucked. And I never want to put myself in that position again. But I was also struggling. I was not taking income in the beginning of the year. Like I think the mindset shifted to scarcity instead of growth mindset. And therefore I started taking on clients that I shouldn't have. And I started really being more permissive and less vetting of clients that came to me. And unfortunately, also, I was in a position where I was trying to do the traditional business outreach to, business development to consulting companies, like companies that I was hoping to get consulting business with. I even hired a BD expert, like really trying to do that whole traditional route. And that was a total failure as well. I'm thinking to myself, like, how do I get money? How do I just get any kind of money? And I think that's when I started to lower prices. And that's when I started to take on clients that I shouldn't have. And that was a huge mistake. And if you've ever bought something at full price and then just shortly after sold it at a huge discount, you feel a little bit upset about that. So the bad clients that I had in the last Accelerate Your Career cohort, as it was, they had a legitimate gripe that I slashed prices, even though it was a different program, a different restructuring, different offering. I slashed the prices, and they were upset about that. And that's legitimate, because I shouldn't have. So reviewing all that documentation, going through all the stuff that I provide to my clients, I just realized that we are providing way more value than we were asking for in payment. There was a mismatch there. And so actually, not only did I need to go back to the original pricing that I had earlier in the year, I need to increase it quite a bit. So, and this mentality kind of stuck with me, not just with the coaching side, but also with the consulting side. With the consulting side, I had at the start of the year a price that I wanted to have as my base. And for whatever reason, again, going through all the mindset stuff from the middle of the year, I compromised on that. I started taking clients at a much lower pay point. I did really good work for the clients. I'm glad I worked with these clients, but it was less than I wanted to charge for that work. And I was providing good value for them. Like the return on investment for both the coaching and consulting side is insane. So this is a problem I had way earlier in my company and continue to have, where I am not charging enough for the value that my company is providing to make it a sustainable business. And I somehow got over that last year, but brought it back this year. And it really caused my company to suffer. So these bad clients who forced me to look over all the work that I've been doing for them over many months, like some of these clients I worked like 6 months with, I need to increase my prices significantly. Oh my gosh, what have I been doing? Like, why have I been charging this little? What is wrong with me that I thought I had to charge this price for you when you didn't even appreciate it? Going forward, I still have the entry level coaching at an affordable price, which a lot of people have said, we didn't make these prices out of nowhere because I'm a scientist, right? I got data, right? So the data was telling me that this price point that we have right now for Fuel Your Space Career, which is the very basic of services, that is an entry level price for the majority of people who are coming to us. But when it comes to working with me one-on-one, when it comes to the higher tier levels of, really accelerating your space career, and then there's the VIP coaching, like I'm going to charge crazy amounts because I took on too many clients, which means I wasn't able to really interact with some clients the way I wanted. Like that just told me that I need to take on fewer clients at a higher level so that I can give that kind of service to the clients who really truly want that service. What does this mean? This means that the amount of money that those two bad clients stole from me, like the amount of revenue that I lost in theft this year, is more than going to be made up with, like 10 to 100 times more in the coming years. Like I've already on the website in the system, prices already increased on both the coaching and consulting side. The fact that I had to go through this horrible process with these two bad clients who, I have nothing actually for compassion for them. Like even as I was going through it, it was annoying because I was doing the whole move and, I have a newborn and like there was just a lot going on in my life. And so this was actually just like one minor little small potatoes thing amongst all the other insanity of buying a house, moving, selling a house, like dealing with a newborn, dealing with my own health. Like this was almost a blip in the radar, but going through that process really kind of put it in perspective for me that I'm going to make so much more money next year because they are saving me the mistake. They corrected the mistake that I was making of discounting my own value, discounting my company's value, discounting my company's services. And so I can report back to you in a year as to how much money they saved me because I know what I would have been charging in the coming year for this service. And I know what I'm going to be charging in the coming year if it's already changed. And so, I'm taking on fewer clients in the coming year, but they will have saved me easily tens of thousands of dollars. Even to the last moment before they committed a crime, like I was like, please let me help you. Let me continue to work with you so that we can get you to where you want to go. And they just gave up on themselves. And to me, that's the biggest failure right there. But with that failure comes the realization that one, I can't have everyone. Two, I have to have those professional boundaries. One thing that I learned this year that was really difficult to learn was that traditional business development does not work for my company. Maybe it would work if my company was a different size or going after different clientele, but it was a complete failure this year. And it was something that had been on my mind for years. Like for years, I was beating myself. Why aren't you're doing this traditional business development of reaching out to prospective clients and reaching out to ideal customers and trying to convince them? And first off, like I hate that. Like I'm a scientist, right? And so I was trained in sales last year. I went through this whole program being trained in sales, which I'm a little bit more comfortable with now, but I'm still not very comfortable. And I don't like high pressure sales whatsoever. I don't like chasing. I'd rather clients come to me. And one exciting thing about this year is that clients came to me a lot. We had some major multinational name brands come to us this year just out of the blue. Like I never even thought to approach these companies. They just approached us. And even though none of them ended up becoming clients, it just really made me realize that, wow, we don't have to go chasing. We can put ourselves out there and people can come to us. A lot of people don't know about me, about my company, about our offerings, and what we could do to help them go in space or to help them get space careers. And so just putting myself out there has, with this tiny little channel, this channel is still so tiny, you all, and yet it is really bringing in a lot of potential clients, both on the consulting and the coaching side. And that just excites me because what do I love more than anything else is talking to people about space. And so I am excited that I get to talk to you all about space. I didn't realize that this is something that I really, really enjoyed doing, but it should have been something I realized sooner because for years now, I have been doing these news interviews, TV, radio, newspaper, like all the news interviews that over 100 a year. So I've never been paid for any news source, news interview I've ever done. I just find it fun. And of course, then why not put myself out there and talk to you all on a regular basis about space? So that is something that I really enjoyed doing. June, I had a bit of a challenge to myself. Can I put out a YouTube video 5 days a week, every weekday minus holidays? And I did it. For the most part, I was doing like 4 or 5 YouTube videos a week on current space news and analysis, and I loved it. And then, of course, I got a little sick and I had to stop and the whole move and everything, but that is something I'm going to continue to do next year. So I'm ignoring all the traditional business advice and sales advice that I've gotten, and I'm not chasing anymore. And I feel liberated to do that. And of course, it's a bit of a privilege because my company is now about 9 years old. It'll be 9 in January. And it's mature enough where I do have that influx of revenue. So it's not like I have to start from scratch and be hungry for every dollar. I'm not. My company is mature enough where I can pick and choose the right clients, the right projects, and not have to chase anybody. And I just find that so freeing. And not only that, I enjoy my company so much more. I enjoy my career so much more. Right now, I am happier than I've been in a long, long time. And some of it has to do with the fact that I'm back here on the Space Coast of Florida. One thing that I'm really focusing on this year is how to integrate myself more into the local community. Getting more involved in the National Space Club Florida Committee, for example, as I was before. Florida Space Day in March. I love watching the launches. I can see them from my own backyard. I'm really, really excited about being here. I feel like there's a peace to me that I haven't felt in a long time. Like I just feel very personally and professionally satisfied in my life that I don't think I felt in years. Like I just feel like I belong here. I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And I feel like this year I'm going to be working with people who are going to blow my mind as to the really cool things that we do together. And I want to thank you all for coming along with me on this journey. I had a goal this year of 1,000 YouTube subscribers. I'm up to 3,000 now. And, that was with a 2-month pause when I was going strong and then all of a sudden completely stopped. And so I want to thank you all for sticking around. And I think that I'll get to 10,000 next year, honestly, if I keep on going the way I want to go. Just vanity numbers, sure, but I actually do make a revenue from it now, which is kind of cool. It's a tiny little revenue source. Next video will be about 2025 space predictions. Always exciting because it's usually quite wrong, but I still have fun anyway.